This is step 3 for my 1-point perspective city for my middle school students. For this, you will need a pencil, an eraser, and a ruler. So once you have your objects on your quadrants, all of them having orthogonal lines to your vanishing point, the next step is to create footprints. Now, footprints by definition are what people leave behind when they step in something messy or when they actually step in something that could leave a mark, and they keep stepping and they leave their footprints. It's also an architectural term for where buildings sit. And because they cannot move, they don't leave their footprints. It's actually where they are on the ground. And if you look at your projects, all of the footprints of your buildings are actually this one dot. And if this is the planet Earth, that means we're in outer space. So in fact, we have to raise the ground on these buildings so that we can actually get them on the ground and we can see them. And we have to do that by going from the top down instead of the bottom up. Like we did in our 9-box quiz, we are going to take our ruler, knowing that both sides of our ruler are parallel. Now, in order to put footprints on our buildings, we have to understand that the roof of our buildings and the footprint of our buildings are parallel to each other. So if we take our ruler and we place it parallel to or right on the top part of our objects, which is a straight line we're going to start with a straight line, we can actually draw a line underneath our ruler, and that can be a parallel line. But for this project, I don't want you to merely just cut it off right here all the way across. That is incorrect. What you're going to do is you're going to put it flat against the top and draw a line in between these two orthogonal lines. And you can draw that line anywhere between the bottom of your ruler and the vanishing point. So if I choose, I can take my ruler and I can slide it toward my vanishing point, keeping it parallel to the object. And I can draw this line underneath my ruler. If I move this out of the way, I can see that both the top and the line I just drew are parallel. But I'm still not done. I still have to capture this angle that I have for these two lines. So I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to turn it and put it on this line to try to recreate this angle. I'm going to slide my ruler toward my vanishing point. Sorry, my ruler moved, so I have to go back and find that line. Then I'm going to slide it towards my vanishing point again, keeping it parallel. Now, if I'm not sure that this is going to be parallel to the top, I just go back to the top, and then I slide it back towards my vanishing point where these two lines meet. Then I'm going to draw a line where those lines meet. Now the next step, I'm going to take my eraser and I'm going to erase these lines all the way to my vanishing point. I have successfully now raised my footprint from the vanishing point to this point on the ground. I have to do this for all of my objects. Now, additionally, not all of your objects are going to be squares. Some of them are going to have curves, and some of them sit next to other objects. So, parallel lines, by definition, are the same space apart and will not meet. In that definition, it does not say that it has to be straight lines. So even if it is a curved line, a zigzag line, or dotted line. As long as the line next to it is an even space apart throughout and those lines never meet, they will be parallel lines. So, using this same definition, if I take this part of my objects and I slide it down and I just determine that I'm going to put my footprint here. In the order to see the angle or the line that I need to draw, I'm going to cover up the rest of my object with my ruler so that I can definitely see the curve that I need to draw. That looks pretty parallel to me. Now, I have what I call a blind curve right here. So I don't know where this line starts, but I do know where this point is and this point is. So I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to put it on both this point and this point. And I'm going to slide, make sure that I have the points. And I'm going to slide my ruler towards my vanishing point again until I find this point. Then I'm going to put a little mark on the line where I want to start my next point. Then, again, I can cover up the rest and draw a parallel line to this line. I have this one, so I know where this one goes. So I draw a parallel line to this one. Conversely, I have another blind point here. So I'm going to go in the opposite direction, starting here and here, sliding my ruler down. So now I know where this line starts. I cover up the rest, so I'll try not to confuse myself. And I draw a parallel line down here. That way I have parallel here. And then I erase my orthogonal lines from my footprint to my vanishing point. Now, you will have objects that sit further away from the vanishing point than other objects. What you want to be careful of is you don't want this footprint to be lower than this one. Because if I draw this footprint lower than this one, it will appear that this object is floating in the air. So if this object sits further away from the vanishing point than this one, then the footprint has to sit lower. Higher than this one. That way, it does not appear to be floating in the air. Now, on this one again, we have a blind curve. So, we're going to take our ruler, find these 2 points, because we can see these two, but we cannot see these. Make our ruler go towards the vanishing point. Find this point. Find this point. Then take our ruler. You're going to put it against this object on this line to try to make a parallel line to this, and move it towards our vanishing point, keeping it parallel. Then we erase to the vanishing point. And this is step 3 of the 1-point perspective city, creating footprints to our buildings.